got the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You got a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, you running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And y'all, this has been a long series. I guess we're like 5 or 6 weeks in now. I don't even know because I've been recording it back-to-back marathon session, if you will, but it's a lot. The name of the series is #Justice for Kimberly Womack. And if you haven't by now, please go share it everywhere. We want this story to go viral. We want all the attention that we can get for Kimberly. Kimberly was brutally murdered, broken ribs, split forehead, damage to the side of her head, subdural hematoma in the back of the head. And this family has been through the shit, you know, from being told she wasn't touched to being told that it's a homicide, back to many, many years later, being told that it's being ruled as an accident again, even by the cold case squad that the family had brought on and got the sheriff and the investigators to agree with. They had Zoom calls with them, et cetera. And then you heard the phone calls with the sheriff saying that he didn't know who they were and why these people calling me. You heard the phone call with the detective saying that it's an accident, could have been due to her drinking. Well, guess what? There was no alcohol in her blood system, according to the toxicology report. Let me digress. I'm with Catherine Simpson and Miss Frida Mick. Catherine is Kimberly's daughter, and Miss Frida is Kimberly's sister. So y'all correct me if I'm gonna kind of summarize, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So then he's like, oh, well, it could have been her medication or it could have been narcotics or whatever.
Medication, alcohol. And he kept talking about a medical condition that doesn't exist.
Right. And so he's saying everything except for that it's a homicide. Right. And after how many years? 13, 14? 13.
August will be 14 years.
Right. So you heard it here, people, on Real Life, Real Crime. And yes, it's been a long series, but you know what? It's important. And I am sorry for those of you who have given me shit in the past about doing these series, like Mary Pochot's and Miss Barbara Blount's and Courtney Coco's. and you signed on to hear old cop stories. Well, you know what? I could tell those all day long. It's the first of our new podcast that's going to be coming out, #Justice4. Just this one's Kimberly Womack. So, but in the future, you'll have it separated. And y'all, I know you signed on to hear old cop stories, but these cases are important to me. And these cases are important to these families. And that's why we'll be starting the new #Justice4 separate. And you're getting this one, you're stuck with it because I believed in it. I didn't want to wait on it any longer. Next week, I'll bring you back to an old cop story, okay? But for today, I just want to kind of summarize up the investigation and what has and hasn't happened. Let's just touch on some things. Yeah, and y'all have heard the phone call with the detective. I'm just going to ask y'all some questions, okay? Sure. So we talked about in one of the episodes about the fingernails. District attorney, now district attorney, then assistant district attorney Tony Clayton in the meeting with Ricky Reward, who used to be the DA, says that fingernail clippings can't be used for whatever reason. Okay, whatever. They fight you for the case file. You had to take them to court and you win it. Basically, they give it over right ahead of time. And then you find out that things are missing from this file. Do you know if a rape kit was ever done on your mama?
I haven't seen it with my eyes, but back in 2008, they told me a rape kit was completed and was inconclusive.
When you read this big, long file Tony Clayton gave you that's on a disc, is there anywhere in there that said the sexual assault kit was done and it's not in the autopsy report?
No, it's not in the autopsy report. Not in the file.
Y'all, I'm going to get with Catherine, and you may have already gotten it by now because I'm going to figure it out, what we're going to release. She has all these documents, and the family has all these documents, Miss Frida. But, I don't like to really sensationalize anything and stuff like that. But we have crime scene photos now, but we have accident photos and crime scene photos and accident photos. If you go back and forth recording what they've said over the years, right? I'm definitely going to put it up for Patreon and Convict because they've signed an agreement not to share anything else. But, some of that stuff is just sensitive. Your mama was found nude, right?
Right.
And did they ever determine how long she'd been down for?
So there was some uncertainty about that. They said they couldn't quite nail down her time of death, that it could have been anywhere between Tuesday night and Friday morning. And the reason I believe that to be true with my limited medical knowledge is because she was right in front of a AC window unit that was on high. So
right, one of those different things, the body goes through different stages of the rigor mortis and stuff like that. It goes in, goes out, goes in. And then if they, and this is going to be hard for you to hear, but if they don't get any insect larvae off of her, they can tell by insects how long she's been down to the T. They studied the body form at UT. They can tell by it's hard to hear, but maggots, they can tell you how many life cycles the maggots have been in. They can tell you, pinpoint to the hour. But if you have an extenuating circumstance like an AC unit blowing cold on her, but if that's a bedroom she never used, I'm just coming out of my head. Why is the AC unit on?
I don't know.
That just popped in my head. I get imprints. And did you know, and I haven't read that far in the files, so if I'm working a crime scene, anything I take out of the crime scene, I'm going to write it down. All right. So it's going to be submitted. If I said she was on the bed had no sheets on them when y'all got there. Crime scene photos, do they show any sheets or bedding?
Yes. One crime scene photo shows some bedding pushed to the side. But then the rest of them show it just with no bedding at all. Someone must have taken that bedding.
Okay, but it's not listed.
No, there's no list
in the report that it's taken.
No, that was the very first thing I asked for back in the end of 2019. The very first thing I did was go directly to PCPSO and ask for a list of items taken from the home.
That's Point Capee Parish Sheriff's Office, y'all.
Right.
And what they give you?
They told me I could take a walk.
All right. So in the end, though, you had to sue to get the case file. To the best of your recollection at this time in the case file, is it included that bedding was taken from that room?
No, there's no list of anything that was taken from the home.
What about the cell phones?
The cell phones, I am only missing one cell phone records.
Wait. I didn't make myself clear. Tony Clayton told you in the meeting, according to what you said, and it's witnessed by your attorneys, that did you know a deputy would turn out to be your uncle? Not real uncle, y'all. If you tune in late, it's no Livingston Parish special stuff that's a Southern friend affection term we give to our closest friends. But he tells you the deputy's cell phone, the detective's cell phone, was found inside the crime scene.
Correct.
Did you know? He says, do you know that was da-da-da-da? Is that on the list?
No, it's not on the list, but it is in the pictures. And what's interesting and good is that on the cell phones themselves that are on the floor, the phone number belonging to that cell phone is taped onto the phone. So you can identify which phone goes to which number, and the number on one of the phones is his.
Okay. Back to my point. Anything taken from a crime scene, especially as evidence, and Tony Clayton told you in front of your attorneys that this phone was taken, it should be listed in the file. Yeah. And it's not to your recollection. There's
no list whatsoever. I looked. It was the first thing I looked for.
Okay, well, you know what? That's an issue. There's no list of anything being taken from the house. No. Now, earlier you said that you know there are some things missing from the case file that Tony Clayton turned over to you. I mean, it could be that this is one of the things that are missing.
Yes, and the cold case team told me that they had requested the polygraph results on 2 suspects who failed polygraphs, that they had requested that from Sergeant Lambert and Sheriff Thibodeau. They wanted the polygraph test itself, I assume. And
the report, at least.
Right.
They're not going to get the test note. In the state of Louisiana, an examiner does not have to turn over his physical charts, and the reason for that is people ask me all the time, review this chart. I'm like, nope, I'm not reviewing it because I don't know what the circumstances were and everything else, right? But but they're not theirs. Which whatever they requested, what was the response?
They said that they have been getting the runaround and they're not really getting phone calls back. And they offered to have the FBI lab in Quantico test all of the evidence in my mom's case that had been collected. And they were told no. The cold case, Sheriff Thibodeau said no, the FBI cannot test this evidence.
Well, according to you, according to what's in the case file that Tony Clayton gave you, they didn't collect any evidence.
Right.
But according to Tony Clayton, according to you, what was said in front of your attorneys, he's the one that said, did you know? Say it again for me.
He said, we don't have a problem prosecuting a police officer. In fact, did you know we found his phone on the floor next to your mother's body? And I tried to keep a poker face, but obviously I couldn't because he said, see, you didn't know. No, I didn't know. I'm shocked he said that.
I'm shocked that they took evidence. Well, it's either one of two things. They took evidence and never put it in the case file, or you didn't get the whole case file.
I didn't get the whole case file.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Y'all hear that? That's the sound of Shopify making me money. I love it. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big businesses. So upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Supercharge your knowledge, your sales, and your success. Shopify is more than a store. Connect with your customers, drive sales, and manage your day-to-day. Shopify instantly lets you accept all major payment methods. Shopify has thousands of integrations and third-party. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of an LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Party apps from on-demand printing to accounting to advanced chatbots to and beyond. Discover endless possibilities. Shopify is tirelessly reinventing tools of growth for millions of businesses, helping them succeed every day. Shopify believes in liberating commerce for all because entrepreneurship has the power to drive communities forward and commerce can be a force for good. Y'all, when I started Real Life for Crime, it was a total mess, right? Trying to sell our merch and different things online. We had to advertise it all and do everything and take the money and the payments and the returns and the shipping. It's just too much for any startup to handle. Shopify does all that for you, and they do the stuff we really didn't know about, like the accounting and everything else. Just give them a chance. If you're a startup, you're a new business, you got to use Shopify. It takes all the guesswork and the hard stuff out of it. Go to shopify.com/RLRC, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/RLRC right now. Shopify.com/RLRC. Okay. And then after this article, the news channel out of Lafayette picks it up, and that's after that you get now back from the sheriff and the detective that it's an accident.
Right.
Wow. We hadn't even touched, and I don't even know if I'm going to, suspects in the case. But of course, if they can get away with saying it's an accident, although she had broken ribs and all the other injuries, you're talking about bruises, polka dotted with bruises and everything else, and that's documented. I mean, it's a fact, right?
Absolutely.
I could not get that to open. The bruises, did they appear fresh?
Yes.
Or not? Like, okay, so if I punch you on the arm, it's going to turn one color today, and it's going to get darker and darker, then it's going to get lighter, and get almost that legal pad color as it fades in. At what stage do you think the bruises were?
They were blue. Lots of little blue dots, and I could tell the difference between that and the lividity.
Yeah. So blue dots, and I'm just going out of my head and just asking questions. A lot of times the blue dots could be from fingers. All right. I mean, you could say they ran into the same corner of a table 20 times and rolled their body around and got her whatever. But you're telling me she had little blue dots, bruising
Everywhere.
About approximate what size?
Probably about like the smaller ones.
So you're doing about a size for the listeners can't see or watch this on YouTube. About
2 inches.
About a half dollar size, something like that.
And then she had them kind of sprinkled on her legs and arms. On her elbows, there were cuts that I can't tell what instrument caused it, but there are red lines on her elbows, on her knees, and on the back of her ankle, and on her back, there's strike marks that are very confusing. I can't figure out what they are, but they're injuries.
Yeah, and are they listed in the autopsy report?
They are.
And they should, and for anybody that doesn't know, usually the autopsy, and I haven't, because I couldn't open it, the autopsy will show, they'll have at least one page in there that'll show a human body with his arms down like this, and no hair or whatever, and they will physically draw in any marks on top of taking photographs naturally, but they'll draw it in and say this is whatever contusion, and they measure it, and they'll actually take pictures of the bruises, and they can tell you exactly how long it is and stuff like that. The marks on the back, you only get one shot at that evidence, so they take photographs of it, they measure and stuff like that. So at least that was done in the autopsy.
Yes.
But did they ever try to explain those away?
They asked if she bruised easily.
But they didn't tell us.
They didn't tell us she was covered in bruises. They just asked if she bruised easily.
And they latched on to that because Sergeant Lambert said all throughout my phone call with him, he talks about her medical condition of bruising easily or free bleeding, and there is no medical condition. She's never been diagnosed with anything. She got nosebleeds sometimes. So do I.
Right.
I don't get woozy enough to fall down and kill myself.
So and if you needed to, you can go back and prove this through her doctor's records.
Right.
I mean, she never sought medical attention. I mean,
the hysterectomy.
Do you have a problem, Miss Frieda, with easily bruising? Or
no, nobody
like
in our family does. Right. No.
So that could be disproven that way. Since the cold case team started working with them and you're on the Zoom calls and stuff like that without saying names. Obviously, I mean, it's the Tony Clayton, the ADA tells you the detective's phone is found in the crime scene, which I can't, they went back and forth so many times they have me confused now. At that time they were telling you it was or wasn't a crime scene. I don't even remember. But did they say anything at any point in time in the recent years about suspects or motive or anything, right?
No. Maybe it was touched on briefly when Tony Clayton called me in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, wanting to know what I wanted. So we scheduled the meeting. On that phone call, during that phone call, I expressed to him that I had my own suspect and I was pretty convinced. Only I've realized now, I've learned through talking to other victims, like we talked about briefly during the break, I've realized by talking to other victims that the best way to sound like I'm crazy or a conspiracy theorist is to express those ideas and opinions and say, I think it was this person or I think it was that person.
Yeah. I get it. And get tunnel vision.
Right. And it changes.
And one ride yeah.
So I have since changed my thought process since I insisted I thought I knew who did it on the phone with him. I realize now I don't know. I have no idea. It could have been so many things. But that is the only time it's ever been touched on who the suspect may be or anything similar.
I mean, him saying we don't have a problem arresting a deputy or a law enforcement officer. Did you know his phone was found inside the crime scene or whatever, accident scene, whatever they were calling it at that time? Because
at that time, it was a homicide.
Okay. So, I mean, naturally you would start with that. And you said her light bill was in his name and all that. And he's still a cop to this day, right?
To this day.
And listen, y'all, I have no direct knowledge. I am simply thinking out loud from the things that y'all have told me today. I'm not saying this guy did it. I don't know who the hell did it.
We don't either.
But I can tell you one thing, the going back and forth, autopsy, this is my personal opinion, no direct knowledge. Accident, murder, accident. You got the other professionals still saying murder. I mean, come on, man. What's up with all this? Yeah. Why? I don't know.
It's obvious it's not an accident.
Right. Well, broken ribs.
Nobody could do that to
Let me tell you
themselves.
something. You can't break. Certainly old people can, like, I hate to say that. Certainly older people, like my father's in his 80s or whatever, right? Maybe he could fall and break his own ribs. But I want to know who in the fuck in the world thinks that you can run. I don't care if you were high or whatever, and you're in a trailer. I don't know how big this trailer was. How hard would you have to run? Then you have to throw your arms up in the air and strike your ribs on something to break them? Holy shit. How many ribs did you say?
Ribs on the right side, 2 on the left, and the lung on this side was
that's
punctured
right.
by the
That's
rib.
right. Okay, Woody, I forgot. The lungs punctured. So ribs broken on both sides.
Yes.
Lungs punctured. Bruises all over the body. Different sizes. What you said appeared to be strike marks on the back. Split in the forehead. Damage to the left. Subdural hematoma in the back. And autopsy reports say what it was that killed her? Subdural hematoma? Subdural hematoma. And that's that from blunt force trauma.
Right.
Blunt force trauma.
Right.
Blunt force trauma. I mean, you'd have to be a bad SOB to get you a baseball bat and
beat yourself up like that.
And break all your own ribs. Let me tell you, I've had my ribs broken. It hurts. And that's, and I'm not making light of it because you know what? This happened to your mama and to your sister. She was murdered.
Brutally.
When Bob Saget died from a subdural hematoma.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, it really, I thought, exactly what they told me happened to my mom happened to him. And it really messed with me a little bit. And then I realized, well, he didn't have broken ribs and a
on both
punctured
sides,
lung
and punctured lung,
hit his
and
head
bruises
3
all
times.
over, and the
Right,
splits and everything else. Hey, look, I'm not saying people don't fall and get that and die. I know I've worked those cases. Yeah, I get that, and there were some of them, and I was like, holy shit! I hope this isn't a homicide, and it proved out that it wasn't. Right, but chair overturned, plant overturned.
Yeah, the chocolate syrup on the floor, ice cream sitting in the refrigerator instead of the freezer.
Chocolate syrup that she slipped in, but there's no marks in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And wait till you see the photos. With the way she was placed on the bed, it seems pretty obvious to me that she didn't get onto that bed herself. There's blood swipes on the corner of the mattress. You'd have to see it.
There's no DNA
None.
samples that were taken from any of the blood. Did y'all get DNA samples at some point? Tell me about that.
They swabbed my sister and I, and I'll guarantee you those swabs went straight to
Can I ask you why they asked? Can I ask you?
For sure.
Let's say they didn't go in the garbage can. Why they ask you? What they say? Miss Frieda, I want to swab you. Why?
My sister and I were sitting there talking to him. This is when we have gotten the coroner's report and everything, and we know it's a homicide. So now they're investigating.
But didn't you tell me you had never been inside this residence?
Mm-hmm.
Then why the hell they want to swab you?
They swabbed my sister and I both, and my sister lived in New York at the time.
And they didn't swab me. So
I felt like it was here, let's look like we're doing something.
Right.
In the case file, is there a list of swabs that have been sent to the crime lab to be tested?
No.
So not of the boyfriend whose cell phones are in the thing. There's no rape kit. Of course, now they may not have given you the full case file, even though you sued them for it. And they told the judge, they stood up in open court and said, assuming, did he say he gave you the case file?
I got a court order for all files related to the case.
Right.
So I was told, I can go up to the DA's office with that court order any day and demand the remaining files, but I'm not going to do that.
But when it comes to court that day and you sued, rightfully so, and you said it all got dismissed because the judge said it's been satisfied. So did somebody get up and say, Your Honor, we've satisfied it, we've given them the disc, all this can be dismissed, and we give them the case file?
Tony Clayton.
Tony made a big scene.
Oh, you should have seen it.
Such a scene.
Tell me about this.
Oh, she wasted everybody's time. Here she subpoenaed this poor Dr. Keller up there. Was it Dr.
Kellerman?
Yeah. And
he kept saying it was so improper.
It was just so, and there was no
And Dr.
need
Keller
for
is
this.
the original one who said that he was strong-armed, and this is witnessed by and willing to be testified by the assistant coroner. That he was there when it happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony got up in front of Judge Baptiste and said, "This is so improper. I've already given her the file. She's here for, he didn't say political reasons, but that was the implication." I finally began to count the logical fallacies as I sat there. And my attorney is a gentle, sweet man. And he got up and he just said, "Judge Baptiste, Tony, Mr. Clayton is just wrong." And so that was the extent of my defense, and Judge Baptiste said, "Okay, well then this is just done."
But so he stood up in open court and said that he'd given you the entire case file.
Absolutely.
So if there's nothing missing from the case file,
That's
then
a
somebody
lie.
did some really shitty police work.
Tony Clayton also told Judge Baptiste that he had never denied me the files, which is an outright lie.
Well, your attorney's witnessed in front of Ricky Ward and everybody else, right?
Right. Yes. So for me to go in and lie to a judge, I'd go to jail. But we have a district attorney who's going into court lying to a judge.
So he told the judge that. So you can go pull those court minutes.
Yep. And then the ensuing affidavits. The two Point Capee detectives in the meeting signed affidavits saying that.
Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
La Navidad llegó a The Home Depot. Encuentra el arbolito perfecto en nuestra enorme variedad de estilos, formas y tamaños. Como el arbolito fácil de armar Jackson Noble, con ramas preiluminadas, en un 2x3 lo tienes listo para decorar. O el Starry Light Flocked, con más de 1,900 ramas preiluminadas de alambre con memoria que mantienen su forma para que esté listo en cuanto sale de la caja. Encuentra el arbolito perfecto para tu espíritu navideño en The Home Depot. Haces más, logras más.
Tony never denied me the files in those meetings.
Then what was the purpose of you hiring attorneys to go in for the meeting? Because, you tried to get, according to you, what you told me earlier, you tried to get the case file, and he said,
no, fight me up to the Supreme Court.
Fight me to the Supreme Court. You hire attorneys, you go in, and I always say everybody has to answer to somebody. And Tony at that time, Tony Clayton, had to answer to Ricky Ward, who was the district attorney. So you get the meeting with him, and you go in, and he flat out refused. But yet, you're telling me that there are affidavits with the detective said that he never refused.
Yes, I've got them on my phone.
Oh, so you got them?
I have them, yes.
Well, there you go.
Signed by Lester Gyro and Stacy Debbie. I never can say the last name right.
What is the last thing you've heard from the district attorney's office? And now he is the district attorney.
Correct. The last thing I heard was in that meeting, or no, actually, it was at the court date, the date of court, when we went and Judge Batiste dismissed everything. I saw him outside of the courthouse. And I may have exchanged one or two sentences with him, and then that's it. I haven't spoken to him since then. I told him his day was coming.
Okay. You told the judge that?
No, I told Tony
Clayton.
Clayton.
I'm sorry, Tony Clayton. I was like... And okay, well, hey, that's what you said, and then say it, because if it comes back on this and this all goes where I assume it's going to go, So you were saying you're leaving the courthouse and you see him.
I saw him outside the doors of the court when I was walking down the hallway, and I started to run. And I remember my attorney. What did he say? My attorney said, "Someone stop her." And I heard...
It's safe to say you had a case of the red ass?
We couldn't get her.
Yeah.
I heard Frida scream, or not scream, but I heard
This is
call.
after...
The case was dismissed. And I was furious. I wanted the full file, and I wanted attorney's fees and restitution.
Right.
So I was mad. I was mad. And I saw him outside the doors, and I started to run. And I went out the door, and I kind of got up right by him, and I said, your day is coming. I will watch you lose. And I'm not going to stop until it happens.
Yeah. And what did he say?
I didn't give him a chance to say much. I blew off right after that. And I don't know that he even understood me. I was in such a state. I was kind of in a bubble of anger.
Yeah. All right. Well, 13 years at the time, or 12, however long it was, been obviously given the runaround, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. Either it wasn't worked correctly. The best case scenario is malfeasance in office to the point where nobody worked it as a homicide, nobody collected anything, etc. That's the best case scenario. Mm-hmm. The worst case scenario is naturally that somebody's covering for somebody. And I am not a conspiracy
theorist.
I'm not that guy. And I truly do believe in our system. I know it's messed up, but I also know it's the best in the world. But unfortunately, and lifers, y'all have heard it on my podcast, unfortunately, there are good and bad in every profession. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, and I catch so much shit. And how can you go against the cops, whatever? I'm like, I'm not going against the cops. I'm going against an asshole that didn't do their job. And they should have done their job, and these families wouldn't be suffering, and they never would have contacted me.
In so much pain, right. And I found lately, I've come to understand that many officers, many detectives or chiefs, they can be used for corrupt purposes without knowing they are being used. They trust the authorities over them, just like we do.
Well, you know what? Let me flip that back. Let me flip that script. A lot of them, I don't even know if you can classify it as being used. A lot of them place their trust in the people that are underneath them to do their job correctly. They don't have time to micromanage it. Look, when I started out and I made these big cases, right? I'm a young rookie detective, might make this big bust and shit. I'm thinking I'm going to hear something from the sheriff or whoever. You never hear a peep about it. I'm like,
you did your job.
I know, and it's funny because I asked one of the older detectives, I said, hey, it's like, I didn't hear anything about that. He said, they don't have time to give you an attaboy. They expect that from you. I'm like, well, you know what? I got justice for them then. That's good. So we're not saying everybody's bad.
No.
But what we're saying is, and I understand your anger towards the now district attorney. I get that. I don't get if everything you're telling me is the truth, and I assume that it is. I don't get that, the pushback and you fight me to the Supreme Court and da-da-da-da. I don't get, the alleged conversation at Churchill's of what does she want, how much she want to make it go away. I don't get all that. All right. I'm not sitting in judgment on those people, but I'm going to tell you something. When I get done today, I'm going to listen to everything again. I'm going through those autopsy photographs. I'm going to figure out what we can release, what we can't. I'm going to go through these affidavits. I'm working some bitch like it was my case. And then I'm going to do one final episode. Y'all won't be here for it. And I'll summarize it in my own words, my own opinion. And then I'm going to tell the world what I would do if it was me. Okay. And then I might give out some phone numbers and everything else to tell the world to make their own conclusion. And
it's been so long trying to get someone to care.
I don't know. I said I wasn't going to do these anymore, but after Mary's case, it's just so important to me.
It is. It's so important. There's so many people.
There's just nobody out there.
No one
that will listen.
Well, there's always three sides to every story.
Yeah.
There's the truth somewhere in the middle, right? But I'm telling you that I'm going to look at it, and this is, I think we're like 5 episodes in now or something like that, maybe 6, I don't know. But I'm going to do the last one, and God knows if any of this will ever get to air, because who knows the powers that be, if they really are threatened. I'm not saying that they are, but if they really are threatened, what they're going to try to do to shut this down. But this is America, okay? And we have the freedom of speech. Right. And if I haven't said anything that's libel or slanderous against anyone, I'm only repeating what you're telling me, right? It appears to me that you have, and the lifers have heard a lot of it, voice recordings and copies of affidavits and everything else that backs up everything that you've said today. But it is what it is. And Kimberly Womack, your sister, Miss Frida, Catherine, it's your mama. She didn't deserve to die. How old was she again?
47.
47 years old.
There is so much that
I'm 5 years older than that now. And she was 47 years old, really in the prime of her life.
yeah.
My 40s were some of the best years I ever had.
She had her first grandchild.
Oh my God,
son had
just
been born.
learning to live life on a whole new, different level of enjoyment, right?
Yes.
And she was brutally murdered. Now, let me go back for a second and on the old cop thinking. Okay, they could say accident, whatever. All right, the autopsy report, the very first episode, I read it to you, says homicide. Still being worked as homicide, people, not an accident. And this can be hard for y'all to hear, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it in my mind. I'm Kimberly. I'm home. Obviously not alone. Whether my clothes are off before or afterwards. My chair gets knocked over. Plant gets knocked over. There's spilt syrup on the floor with no feet print in it. There's some blood drops that started in the kitchen. There's a pool of blood down the hallway. Bathroom doors off the hinges. I'm Kimberly. My ribs get broken on two sides. My lung is punctured. I have bruising all over me. I have marks all over me. My forehead gets split open. Left side of my skull is damaged. And I have a huge subdural hematoma or bruise in the back of my head, which ultimately causes my death. Not that the other ones, puncture lung and everything, wouldn't have caused it, but evidently the brain bleed, which is what the subdural hematoma is, killed me first. But to be left in a bedroom, which I never use, the air conditioner is turned on full blast. I'm left naked, murdered, possibly for days and days until somebody goes and checks on me. No one deserves to die, to be murdered, much less murdered like that in your own home and left nude and brutally murdered. That's why I'm doing this hashtag justice for Kimberly Womack. Share it everywhere. Share it everywhere. Because next week, I'm going to do my story. I'm going to have everything and I'm going to do my story by myself. And I'm going to tell you how the cow ate the cabbage. And y'all, I know that was hard for you to hear, but this is real. This is real life, real crime. This is not people. Shit. It's easy to sit here and hear from the beginning how Kimberly's life was and everything else, and talk about this case and what has and hasn't been done and the struggles y'all have been through. But at the end of the day, what it boils down to is this brutal murder of a human being. And not only was she a human being, she was loved by her family, friends, hard worker.
And she would never have hurt a soul.
She never even spanked me.
And I don't want people. The true crime genre is the number one in the world, and I get that. But sometimes I think that's to a detriment because people lose sight that each one of these victims you hear about, I don't lose sight of it because I've seen it. I've had to sit with the family. I had to tell the family members that what happened and stuff. I had to work these cases and sit across tables from these fucking monsters and get confessions out of them, et cetera. I know it. I can still see every one of them in my mind with a photographic memory, every single one of them. And I think that I know that people become desensitized, and that's why I try to put the human face on these victims. That's why I try to get the justice for these victims. And damn it, I want justice. Hashtag justice for Kimberly Womack. And thank y'all so much for your time and everything. Thank you for fighting the battle for your mama, for your sister. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you know what? Y'all, I'm not even saying all my usual podcaster shit. I'm just leaving it at that. Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. Until next time, or ever, don't let me catch you down on murder by you. Peace. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?